Jimmy with Jim's Review Room. Sony's mirrorless camera fits perfectly in between those wanting something better than a point-and-shoot camera and those wanting features of a bigger DSLR camera like the one I personally use here. And more importantly, being able to use these interchangeable lenses to get that certain photographic look without breaking the bank or carrying such big and bulky equipment. So I have here the mirrorless Sony Alpha 5100, and it's priced at $549 for the body only. And if you buy the kit that comes with the 16 to 50mm lens, it's $699 retail as of this upload. And in this video, I'd like to stress this review is for the average consumer, just looking in general for a good camera or those video bloggers out there. So without further ado, we'll get started. Going over its physical aspect first, this is a slim profile camera measuring approximately 4 3/8 wide, 2.5 inches high, and only 1 7/16 deep. And the weight comes in at approximately 10 ounces or 283 grams with the body and the battery alone. But with the kit lens, it weighs in at 13.48 ounces or 382 grams, which is on par with similar competitors on the market. Now, as stated earlier, this kit comes with a 16 to 50mm lens, which is the norm on most cameras as it's the most versatile. Sony features this huge zooming ring as all lenses do, but it also features a zoom sliding switch. Slide up to zoom in and down to zoom out. And not to mention, there's a third way to zoom as well, which is located near the on-off switch up top. And just as a side note, unlike DSLR cameras, most if not all of these mirrorless cameras, there's not a separate focus ring to control your focus area. Instead, this is all done through the on-screen menus. Just wanted to point that out just in case you weren't aware. But going over the physical features first, right below the on-off switch is the recording video button, and then moving to the left features dual microphones for both left and right audio channels during video capturing. Now the flash button is located to the far left and makes the built-in flash spring out here with a very nice resistance when pushing it back down. Now moving to the back side of the camera, you have your basics with a menu access button, a scroll wheel which also works as a directional wheel by clicking up, down, left and right, and with the OK or confirmation button right in the middle. The bottom left is the view mode to look at your stored photos and video, and the question mark to the right here is the help menu, also used to delete files during previewing. Now going to the far left side features all of your connections. The top houses a micro USB port for charging with a supplied wall charger, and moving slightly below is a memory slot for full-size SD cards. And listed on your screen is the compatibility list, and pause the video if you need to. And last is a micro HDMI port so you can connect this to your TV or supporting monitor for viewing. Now on the very bottom houses your lithium-ion battery, which is good for approximately 400 shots or 75 minutes of video recording. Also standard on 99% of cameras I believe, and is the most underrated feature of any camera, is a threaded mount to attach this to a tripod. And the last physical feature is perfect for those who perform selfies, or more importantly, those who do video blogging. The 3-inch screen actually flips up 180 degrees so you can see yourself. So overall, the construction is very well done in my opinion. The body, although all plastic construction on the outside, is very solid with no flex or squeaks. The lens itself, as you've seen so far, is huge, and on the outside, it's very nicely done metal construction. However, once the lens pops open, it unfortunately does look a bit cheap with its plastic. However, most if not all camera lenses are made of some sort of plastic composite material. So altogether, it's still a nice camera. All the buttons feel top-notch, clicky, and a feeling that this product will last for some time. The only gripe that I had though, and it's not really a bad thing, but then it is though, the camera is quite compact that my medium-sized hands does have to pinch and grip this a certain way. Now if gripped too much, my palm would accidentally bump the buttons on the back. Didn't happen often, actually rare, but it did happen nonetheless. And second, sometimes my hands would block the infrared light that helps the camera measure distance in low light situations. Those nuances are nuances indeed, but I don't think, at least for me, they were a deal breaker though. And before I discuss about the photo and video quality, it's important to show you how the menu looks and what features this thing has. Now, there's 6 different categories, and the first being camera settings. This offers automatic features that helps in getting the best photos without playing around with the settings. But if you're more advanced, this camera allows full manual mode to control all of your shooting needs, like shutter speed, aperture, ISO levels, etc. Again, just like a full-size DSLR. And if you're interested, this does take panoramic photos as well. So please feel free to pause the video if you need to, if I glanced over anything a little too quick for you. Now backing out here and going into the custom settings, this camera can take up to 24 megapixel photos with the option to go smaller with 12 and 6 megapixels respectively. Now going to the next submenu is the file format settings for video, and this may be important for some people, especially bloggers out there that upload videos frequently. The A5100 comes with very good video recording options. This of course records MP4 formats, which is possibly the most compatible and for sure works with YouTube. But for video buffs, AVC HD, that basically records in MTS file formats, allows you to record in 60p, basically a smooth 60 frames per second. But the last file format is where it really shines, allowing videos to be recorded at 50 megabytes per second bitrate, which is higher than most cameras at this price point. Now with a higher bitrate, you do in general receive better quality recordings, but I'll show you some videos later to see what I'm talking about. Now the next notable features includes wireless connectivity. Cameras nowadays are becoming smart, you can say, with the A5100 offering Wi-Fi and NFC connections to basically send photos to your computer or smartphone wirelessly. And it's ideal as people who use this extensively are able to view and edit photos right on their phone and then upload what they want to their social media sites. And I would assume this is ideal for those who want more professional or in general better quality photos to be shared than the camera on their smartphones. Now the rest of the menu options are really straightforward with settings like changing the screen brightness or setting your date and time. You do have the option to select 6 different languages at your discretion. But getting to the bread and butter, you can say, let me show you what this camera can do. As my channel does cater more towards the average consumer, all photos and videos shown are unedited, and it's all shot in auto mode on each camera. No fancy settings, just plain auto mode and absolutely no flash. Photos will be from my personal Nikon D5100, which was about $750 with one lens back in the day, and of course the Sony A5100 at $700 and its stock lens. Now keep in mind, I'm just comparing image quality right out of the box, and to have something to compare the Sony with, you can say. This is not a direct comparison with the specific Nikon camera that I have. Now look at both photos. Which one do you prefer? Now looking closely, the picture on the right does appear sharper, especially around the gravel. But looking at its color, the image on the right does appear to be more contrasting and rich, you can say. Now picture on the left is from my Nikon, and the picture on the right is from the Sony A5100. But one picture is never enough to really tell. Second photo here, which one do you prefer again? A second time where the A5100 does appear sharper again. But now look at the lighting and the detail. The walkway does become dark on the Nikon, but for the Sony it still keeps the details pretty well. And once again, both on auto settings, and the color on the right is again a bit more rich. Now going into macro shots, basically very much close-up photos. We're looking at this weed growing in my backyard here with coincidentally a baby dragonfly on there. I don't know, I just saw it randomly. Again, none of these photos are edited and both look decent at first glance, but zooming in reviews again the clarity. And look at the Sony, you can see the dragonfly's eyes, you can say. Holy cow. But what I couldn't wait to show was its low light performance. The Nikon was shot with no flash, but you can see it had overcompensated for the lack of light. And you can see a drastic difference in how the Sony really kept the glowing light intact. Now when zooming in, there is just a slight hair more noise, more distortion, you can say, I noticed on the Sony camera though. And one more photo here for low light performance, and this was in my bedroom on a cloudy day. Very low light in my room, and at first glance, this picture didn't seem bad at all. Looks clean enough, everything is visible, but now let me introduce the Sonys. The A5100, in my opinion, reviewed a lot more natural and realistic color reproduction. That color on the wall and on the giraffe really looks like the real thing. Again, there does show some noise in the background here, but the sharpness on the A5100 is still amazing. Just look at the pen when I zoomed in on here. And the last test I wanted to show is the video recording. Now you can make judgment yourself about the video quality, but I wanted to point out some key features that you should look for in any camera that you decide to purchase. Now pay attention to the gutters and the roofline. Those jagged edges are known as aliasing, and this is normally found on lower budget cameras. Now look at the video quality on the second camera, or the second video. The jagged edges are nearly gone. The second video, again, is the Sony. It's important to pay attention to this if you're filming. Now if you wear a striped shirt, a plaid button-up, or anything with small patterns or very fine lines close together, the video quality is greatly reduced because of this. And the last feature I want to show you in regards to video recording is low light performance. Very important for any videographer. But you can see this video looks good for a non-edited video. Not too much noise, and the lighting through the window looks really well done when it glows on the back walls. But now look at the Sony video. The colors are much more accurate in my opinion. That's what actually my wall looks like. And the lighting just glows again onto the back walls a little bit more smoother, you can say. And there's less noise, surprisingly, considering that there was a bit more noise in the Sony photos, that is. But real quick, one last low light video here. Left is the DSLR and the right is the mirrorless camera once again. So overall with my usage, the image quality, I'm really impressed. Sony does very well in regards to lighting. Sony also promotes its autofocus power, which is crazy fast from my test. This locks on fast and switches its focus on different distances on the fly. And as a recap, in the photos, there does appear to be slightly more noise when zoomed in. But when not zoomed in, the contrasting colors and the sharpness on the Sony really compensates for that area. But oddly for video, low light performance is much better. The only gripe though that I personally had was its size and how I held it, accidentally bumping the buttons, and it just wasn't as ergonomic as I wanted it to be. It's compact in a way, and I really appreciate that, but for folks with large hands, this might be a little bit tough. But again,